It's still Midday Live, and the man with all the facts and figures is standing by with business.
All right. Very much, very touchy story then. We should say NADMO should equally move on harder to make sure that people get some reliefs there. But I'm talking business and some good news for vegetable farmers. So there's many more coming up shortly in business. All right, so it's time for us to do business, and just like we've been talking about early on, vegetable ban, which was imposed some 3 months ago, has been lifted by the Ministry of Food and Agriculture, and that presupposes that vegetable exporters from Ghana can mainly now export to the European Union. Well, this comes as a relief to most of the vegetable exporters because they said they lost several thousands of Ghana cedis within the 3 months. The Deputy Director and Head of Plant Quarantine Division of the Plant Protection and Regulatory Services, Ruth Wood, announced the lifting of the ban after a meeting with over 40 exporters.
Today we lifted the ban. During the meeting, we told them that the ban has been lifted. That was a voluntary suspension that was placed on the export of selected commodities, Asian vegetables and then African leafy vegetables. And so it's been lifted, but then there are conditions attached.
President of the Vegetable Exporters Association was optimistic exporters are going to collaborate with the ministry to ensure the required standards are met.
The ban has been lifted with a condition, and I believe it's for the good of the industry and everybody concerned. Some of the farmers were complaining, obviously, because they had cultivated their farms, and the produce we export, we don't normally consume much in Ghana, so they lost a lot.
For some of the farmers and exporters, the news is a big relief.
We have to mend our ways by doing good packing and undergoing some training in order to overcome these problems.
We are very grateful to the ministry, the PPRS, and all the stakeholders who has been helping us for this ban to be lifted.
For FOB, we calculated about 6 months on income, or 5 months of income. We were around 300 and almost getting to 400,000 Great Britain pounds.
All right, so when the news breaks, we'll make sure we bring it to you first. When it happened, we told you. Now that the ban is lifted, we're equally informing you. Later in our subsequent bulletins, we'll try to get some of the effects on the vegetable farmers. But let's move on and still stay with exporters, as the Ghana Food and Beverages Association and the Importers and Exporters Association have expressed dissatisfaction about the proposed implementation of the Ghana Conformity Assessment Program, and that is GCAP. According to them, the GCAP, if implemented by the Ghana Standards Authority, will increase the burden of the Ghanaian importer.
The GSA insists there will be no additional cost to the importer, but we tell you emphatically here today that you are being misinformed. What they are not telling you is that when the third-party contractor, SGS, does any inspection, it will cost the importer 0.5% of the invoice value, and since the exporter is not Father Christmas, they will surely pass on the cost to the importer. And this will reflect in the expenses incurred in engaging the SGS and the BVAC. You will at the same time realize that the product that will cost you just $1 to ship into Ghana will now cost you $1.4.
Inspection once done in the country of origin or in the supplier's country stands genuine and therefore will not require another test to be done here. Therefore, the cost paid for over there by the supplier, not even the importer, you, the supplier selling your product, will have to prove to the importer that your products are genuine. I'm appealing to them once again to be very passionate about what they are doing, and then sit down with us and discuss. If they do not want us to sit down and talk, then we will have no alternative but to do the ultimate.
All right, so if you just joined us, you're still live on TV3. We're bringing you business and more stories that public sector workers will be laid off and the public wage bill will be cut down as the IMF prepares to outline conditions for Ghana's bailout package. Professor Felix Asante, coordinator of the 2013 State of the Ghanaian Economy Report, disclosed this to the media during the launch of the report. According to the 2013 report on the state of the Ghanaian economy compiled by ISE, managers of the economy required bold efforts to check imbalances. The report noted over-reliance on Ghana's primary exports continue to make export earnings extremely vulnerable.
We need to manage the wage bill so that we can control our fiscal deficits. That is the main issue. On the monetary side, the issue of exchange rate was very, very key. And we've been questioning the policy this year on exchange rates, the rationale behind it. And after 6 months, almost everything has been withdrawn. And the harm has caused the nation, which will take some years to address.
As the IMF outlines guidelines for Ghana's bailout package, Professor Felix Asante said the public sector should expect major job cuts, which will worsen Ghana's unemployment burden.
Already we have an unemployment situation which we cannot even control. And that is going to be one of the painful decisions as a country we have to take. We have to reduce our wage bill. How do we do it? And this is an area we've always been advocating that we should link wage bill to productivity.
In other stories, Director of the Ghana Institute of Consulting, Clement Redu, has challenged human resource practitioners to be bold enough and fire non-performing employees in the organizations. While speaking at a human resource conference in Accra, he said such employees incur losses in the organization.
Human resource managers play a critical role in organizations. They handle personnel decisions, hiring and compensation. Although physical resources like capital, infrastructure and logistics are important, output is directly related to the commitment of personnel. Recruiting right people, getting and sustaining top talents and nepotism are some factors militating against productivity.
To identify talent and to put talent into your organization starts from the beginning. So the ad is put in the paper, but what do? We normally come and say, oh, I have a friend who is working here and I believe he's a very good person in IT. And he's done so wonderfully well in his company, so I think that we should take him. So they come to us as HR professionals and they give all the reasons and excuses why we should get this gentleman beyond and above everybody else. You don't know that person professionally and his work attitude. And after 1 year, HR starts to call you indirectly and says, oh, Clement, are you sure your friend is what you said he was?
He urged human resource practitioners to invest in the professional development of their employees.
If you, as the head or the line manager who is expected to manage the performance of your team, have personal issues with members of your team, who would coach and train who? You don't have good coaches in your company, then it's not going to be effective. Because even though the essence of performance management is to bring out the best in your team, you must also learn to build your team members.
The Human Resource Director of Airtel Ghana, Tina Mupurazi, pointed out that the human resource professional must influence policies and activities to maximize effectiveness at the workplace. Chief Executive Officer of Lane Services Limited touched on the relevance of the forum.
Every year we organize a forum such as this one to bring practitioners together so we can brainstorm and improve upon the HR practices in our various workplaces. So that's the reason why we organized this.
The conference, which brought together various stakeholders to discuss and offer solutions to key HR issues, was on the theme, the role of HR in maximizing organizational effectiveness.
All right, so that's business. If you're not performing well enough, just get prepared to be fired. Now, that is by the HR organizations. We're done with business.